Hello and welcome to another watch-along episode with us at We Read It One Night, a romance podcast. We're jumping into Bridgerton Season 1, Episode 5, where things finally start to heat up, albeit at the last possible moment. We get a bunch of random hangover cures for some reason. We discuss age gaps in historical romance, and Allison tries to get Rachel to make her a sword. While you're listening, support the pod with a rating and review, and don't forget to check out our bookish feminist cat lady Etsy store. Enjoy the show.
So big news, my car has been totaled again. But good news for everyone trying to buy a used car. The used car market seems to have cooled down at least a little bit because my car is worth like $1,000 less than when it was totaled back in August. Sure, whatever.
Yikes.
Last time it was like so much cheaper. I can't get in contact with that guy again though. So
The AAA man?
no, not the AAA man. I'm talking about the original man back in August that like fixed it for $900 when they were saying when they gave me $9,000. Like he's like boldly disappeared off the map. Like I tried to go back to him to get an oil change. And I even like called and thought I talked to like someone there. And then like there was no one there. There was just like stray dogs like coming at me. So it's like, I'm gonna get the hell out of Dodge. Like, sorry,
Maybe
man.
it's like one of those like, I don't know, like underground
Hop up.
It's like the cheese man. Like you have to, like, you don't know where he is.
Yeah,
You have to like have the password.
I know. And I can't find like the phone number that I had for him that he was like calling me from like goes to like a different shop on the other side of town. I don't know. I'm so confused. I don't know. It's really sus.
What's his name?
His name's Syed. But I told you that like at that same
Syed,
time,
if you're listening.
I told you that I was going on Reddit and like trying to find other shops like that people recommended. And like all of them, I would call them and they'd be like, oh yeah, we're going out of business. Like, sorry. Or like they would have gone out of business. Like the number was disconnected. So there's some kind of like crackdown.
It's big oil somehow is involved.
Somehow. Yeah. I don't know.
They're powerful in Texas. Anyway, if you know a mechanic named Syed in Houston, in the Houston area.
Yeah, no, he was really nice. He was great. He fixed it. He like fixed more than what he was supposed to. Like he boldly like popped my other fender back out and like fixed the mirror that had like, been like shaky for years after someone hit it on the street. You know, he was really great. I would 10 out of 10, but like I can never find you. Where are you? I mean, I know where to find his like garage. I guess I could just keep going there until he's like open, but like I can't really do that with a busted up car, you
just
know.
Like stake it out.
Yeah, I mean, I tried.
Across the street. I went to finally get my Pennsylvania driver's license. But there was this woman there who started yelling at one of the employees. And I was just like, I just like don't understand. Like,
no.
You know this isn't gonna accomplish anything. Like, I don't understand people who just like don't.
You have to
like,
pick your battles.
even if I'm mad, like,
yeah,
I'm not gonna just start yelling in the middle of a public place, like over something, you know, like it's.
No, there definitely is value in like knowing how to write like a Karen message. I that's a skill I really don't have, and I wish I did. You have to make it more annoying to just like give you what you want and get rid of you than to keep having to deal with you. So you have to make it easier. Yeah, you have to make it easier to just get rid of you and let you go than to keep you.
Lesson of the day, folks. You know who's really annoying in today's episode of Bridgerton, season 1? Everyone. This whole episode, I realized as I was watching it while getting my 10,000 steps on my walking pad.
I have hit 12,000 today. Ha.
That this entire episode is completely pointless. This entire episode.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Other than the fact that like Daphne and Simon bang at the end, like there's literally, or no, I'm sorry. Wait, they do bang.
Yes, they do at the very end, like literally, because I remember it was like less than 10 minutes left, and I was thinking like, I thought this happened, but like, is it gonna happen? And then
no,
like, yeah,
it's just this whole. I was like, it's just like a pointless miscommunication trope, and like for why the queen is once again like way too invested in these randos' love lives, and
agreed.
It's just we get 3 nice / useful things that I thought in this episode.
Yeah.
I thought the Queen / King George stuff was very sad and was emotionally impactful. I was like, I liked that scene. It didn't really do anything for the plot of the season, but I did enjoy that we got that little interaction. And We also get the instrumental cover of Strange by Celeste, which is a song that plays when they fuck for the first time. And that is frankly one of the best instrumental covers I've ever heard in my goddamn life. And I've listened to that song at
That
least
is
500 times. I love that song so much. The first time I watched this episode,
interesting.
the first time we watched this season, I was like, I don't know. Like, I can barely focus on like Rege Jean Page's butt because like this song is just so incredible, so amazing. I fucking love it.
Yeah, because that's how I like the Wildest Dreams cover in the next
Yeah,
video. That's like, yeah, I was like, wow, this really hits so fucking
yeah.
good.
And then the third nice thing that we get is all these random hangover cures.
That's
like,
what I wrote that down too.
Throughout this episode,
I
like
know.
multiple of them, like oil and like pepper, and then like
Right.
whatever, like the eggs and like some sort of like raw egg
Yeah.
and garlic and like a drink. Like I was just like, how do they come up with like what like multiple ones in an episode? Everyone's
No, I know.
hungover.
Yeah. No, but it's not it's Violet and then it's Daphne to Simon and then it's the boxer's wife to Simon. So it's just like Simon and Violet that are hungover. But yeah, they keep getting like multiple.
Yeah. Well,
multiple
the
hang-
one
I
that
know.
Daphne gives to Simon is just the same one that her mom got. So
Mhm.
it's only, but yeah,
but,
she
like,
brings it up
still, yeah,
again.
it
it's
comes
like
up so many times.
what?
Yeah.
Like why?
Yeah.
So that was
I
the three things
know.
that I got from this.
Yeah, no. We also have like multiple, I guess another theme of this episode is like people keep making comments to Daphne about like how she must be looking forward to like her wedding night and then like Daphne just looking
Yeah.
like confused and like she also looks like she's been crying this like she does or the makeup department did a good job of making it look like she's been crying like in the background this whole entire episode.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Because it's like the seamstress lady, the queen, like just random everyone is just like, oh, like you must be so looking forward. And she's like, what do you mean? Why would I need pajamas? Like, I
Oh
don't get
yeah,
it.
she's like, why do I need 5 night dresses? And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's for your husband. And I know they just mean like, oh, you want like sexy lingerie for your husband.
Mhm.
But I was like, if this were a real historical romance novel, you need 5 because he's gonna rip at least 4
Oh
off
my
of you.
God.
Like,
Absolutely.
that's why.
Listen, then you have
Just
one for the rest
tear
of your,
it.
like,
Just
marriage, yeah.
tear them in half. I really want to know like whether that was actually possible with like the actual. I want a historically accurate
Yeah,
chemise
like that.
given to me, and I want to see whether I can rend it in half.
Like that, like sheer muslin or whatever. Like they used to like. Was that actually? Was it strong or was it like?
Yes,
Yeah,
but
'cause
would
silk
they
is
have
strong,
used
right?
that muslin for the chemise? That's
Probably
what I'm wondering.
not. No.
For the undergarments, I don't think the stuff that you
Yeah.
sweat in. That's
Mhm.
the thing. The undergarments is going to be like cotton or
Or
something.
like, so, yeah, so that isn't
Or
visible.
like
Also,
linen.
like, what's the point of making
Yeah.
it? Well, unless they're making like the like sexy ones that are supposed to be seen.
Right. That's like totally see through. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that. I don't know,
Anyway,
it's
if someone wants to like
scandalous.
ship me Regency era accurate chemise, I'll open a P.O. box
Yeah.
for that purpose.
Yeah, why don't
I
we have
wanna
a PO
know.
box? I feel like we should have one, just like for kicks.
Because
You
they
guys wanna
cost
send us-
money, Rachel.
Sure, I know, but it'd be fun. Listen, people could send us more money than it costs. Listen, that could be our like subscription service.
Send us checks.
The thrill of sending things in the mail. Another thing we got in this episode is it's time for Benedict's gay party. Like that, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like we have actually like full on confirmed.
Benedict said gay rights. And then the
Yeah.
guy comes up and he's like, about last night. And Benedict is like, I didn't see anything. I'm
Yeah.
cool. I'm an ally. Hashtag
TM, yeah.
TM.
Yeah, which is disappointing.
Oh.
Not that he's an ally,
Yeah.
but that he's not. Yeah.
We also get 2 really, I don't know, again, like I said, like the queen, for whatever reason, like both wholly unnecessary, but also like she really shines in this episode. Like we get multiple interactions where like when they're coming in to tell her that the king is lucid, you're like, it is the king, your majesty. And then she's like, dead? Is he dead?
She's ready.
And then Lady Danbury is like, give her what she wants, attention. And I was like, same. Me too,
Yeah.
Charlotte. And you know who the next crowned queen of England is after Charlotte? Adelaide. Addie, like our cat.
Oh, wow. I've never heard of her.
You wouldn't have. She was the one right before Queen Victoria. Well, because so Charlotte, her son became the king, and his wife was Caroline, but they were like legally separated, and he like actively did not let her come into the church to be crowned. Like he banned her from the coronation.
Oh, wow. Wait. Oh, so it was her. Okay. Didn't she have like a really
so
popular...
the one after that was his like brother. and was like Queen Victoria's like uncle, and he didn't have any kids, but his wife was Adelaide.
Oh, okay. So not like queen in her own right, but like
No,
the
no.
the king's consort. Okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a Caroline that was like really popular and like died in childbirth? That was like before
Yeah,
Victoria or
his
something.
daughter.
Okay, also named
The Prince
Caroline.
Regent's daughter was dead. Yeah. Yeah, so Daphne and Simon finally get married. They get a little special license. Honestly, I love the special license trope in historical romance. Like, I
Mm.
just think it's like super fun, and I think it's just like every other book. Like, they never wait. Like, you literally only have to wait like 3 weeks to just like read the banns in church. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, you just have to wait 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I love that in historical romance they're like, not for me. Absolutely not. I
Yeah.
am going to get
No.
this very expensive and rare thing.
Like, yeah, and this like life-changing decision. I feel like that's what's always really glossed over. Like, because we have this scene where like Daphne, when like Violet gives her like the talk and like really doesn't at all. But like
Yeah.
it starts with her being like, oh, like you must be sad to like move out of this house. And Daphne's just like, yeah, I have a lot of memories here, as if it's not like the only home she's ever known besides like their country house. Like that's what always seems weird to me is how like not just in historical romances, like in general, like how traumatic that must be and how much is always like glossed over. Like, just, like, in general, the concept of, like, a woman having to, like, literally move out and, like, leave her entire life. Like, she doesn't even know how far away they're moving, and that's always, like it's given, like, maybe a few minutes or like, Father of the Bride, like, that's, like, the most I can think of, like, a movie, like, really making a big deal out of that. Like,
Yeah.
it's
And
always
that's
just,
only because
like,
they don't
"No
live
big
together first in
deal."
Father of the Bride.
Oh, sure. Well, yeah, because she's, like, a child who has never not lived at home.
Yeah.
Which is like, yeah, sure, that doesn't happen as much nowadays, which is good. But like, I mean, no, I'm not saying this is like I'm just saying like in these types of stories, like that's never like really examined.
Yeah. I never thought of that, actually. That's really interesting.
Really? No, I always thought of that.
I mean, I've thought of like, oh, like women have to like leave everything behind, but I don't know. I've never thought about the fact that like books don't explore it. I guess because I'm like
No.
always just like, all right, when do they bone? Right,
Oh,
let's
but even
pick
in
it
like
up
other
now.
like in Pride and Prejudice, like I just even before we read like romance, I feel like that was always I was always like, how is everyone like it just felt like this cognitive dissonance. Like I remember it really being explored in when I read Gone with the Wind, which I told you was like my introduction to like unhappy endings, but at least it really like because I remember like reading the first chapter is her being like 16 or something and like she can't wait to get married. And like I can't remember, I don't think the narrator points it out, but like it was really that's like the overtone is like, yeah, you should fucking like slow down. Like you don't realize how much this is gonna like fuck up, not just fuck
Yeah.
up your not necessarily fuck up your life, you know, it will because you're only 16, but like, you know, change your like put a
Yeah.
real change and
Permanently
like you're not
change.
gonna be able to do all this like fun stuff that you did before at home. Like, yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's always one of my mind. Like in Pride and Prejudice, I'm always like, why like they're all like such in a rush to get married, but don't they realize that like that means they won't be together like with their family? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it always seems so weird to me, and especially so sorry, talking about the special license, it's like, especially you're leaving it for, like, a literal stranger. Like, you're leaving
Yeah.
your entire
Yeah.
entire life
Entire
and
support group.
family for someone you barely know. Anyway.
Yeah. We're watching this German show on Netflix called The Empress. It's about like Empress Elizabeth of like Austria, like Sisi or whatever. And that's literally like the whole like course of her marriage is that like he was supposed to marry her sister and then he was like she's hotter and then they got married and then like it immediately falls apart and it's like already falling apart in this. Like, speaking of young people, I want to point out again that in the reality of this TV show, this isn't the case in the book, but in the TV show Simon is 30 and Daphne is 18. I
Wait,
just
what
want to
is
flag
it?
that.
Yeah, what is it in the book?
In the book she's like 23 at least, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
why
like
did
it's like her
they
like fourth or fifth
Yeah.
season in the
Yeah,
book.
you're right. Yeah, why that's what a choice.
Because it's not like they made Anthony younger, you know what I mean? Like, see, and season 2 like fully established
Right.
that, like solidified that, is that Anthony and Benedict are
No, and
significantly older than Colin and Daphne.
yeah, and they say it all the time. I mean, like, he brings it up, like, even as late as, like, the talking to the queen. He's like, "I thought she was,
Yeah.
like, barely out of leading strings." And it's like, yeah, because she is. Like,
Yeah, because she's a fucking child.
wow, I just
And
really can't.
Simon is Anthony's best friend. They went to school together, so he's 30.
It's because they wanted to commit to the stupid, like, diamond plot line and
First
having the queen be
season.
part of it. But, like,
Yeah, the whole
why?
first. I was like, why? Then age down Anthony and Simon. That's
Right.
fine. You
Like,
can make them all. They're
easy.
all supposed to be relatively close in age. They're not.
Right.
There's not supposed to be a huge age gap between Colin and Benedict. So
Right.
like, just age them down. It's fine. He can be like, at least make him like 25. I don't know.
Right. Like, not
Like, it's
great, but
just
like,
so,
yeah.
it's Charles and Diana. That's what
Yeah.
this is. It's
And it
Charles and
really,
Diana.
yeah, fuck.
I was
It's
like,
so
why? Like, why'd
bold
you guys do
now.
that?
It's so
Like, you could have
bold.
at least just like not told us anyone's ages and I would have been fine. Like, I could suspend disbelief, but like considering the whole season hinges on the fact that she's only 18.
I guess they thought they could get away with it because like the actors are like kind of are pretty close in age, right? Like, how old is Rege
Yeah.
Jean Page? Like, she was
I
like
think he's in his like
26.
30s. I have never actually been able to find Rege Jean Page's actual age because
It
he
says
has a remarkable
34.
job of hiding his birthday.
What? It says April 27th, 1988 on Wikipedia.
Okay.
What?
Well, it wasn't 2.5 years ago when I
So
first
he's
looked up how
34
old he
now,
was.
which means he would have been like 31
One.
at filming, and she was like 25. So he's like accurate age for his character, and she's like 8
Yeah.
years older, which is just wild. Like, can you
It's
imagine
like
what
interesting
Phoebe
because you wouldn't
Diviner?
have cast an 18-year-old to
No,
play
like,
that
can you
part.
imagine what she probably looked like when she was 18? Like
Oh,
she looks like a
baby.
baby now. Like, she probably looked like 10. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like, you know, an
Little
18-year-old
puffy
just will do.
cheeks.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Insane. I just like that was a really, I don't know why it just like really just like hit me this
Mhm.
rewatch where I was like, wow. I
They
hate
really
that. And like I
got
don't
close.
tolerate and I listen, I know that historical romance, like that kind of age gap is like pretty common, particularly in older historical romance. But I feel like we're now like approaching a time when like if the hero's gonna be 30, the heroine needs to be in her 20s at least.
Yeah.
But I did read a book that was published recently where the hero was like 29 and the heroine was 18 and they brought it up every other chapter, like not even as a like, oh, we have such an age gap, we can't be together. They just like would just be casually brought up that they had this huge
Yeah.
age gap, and I was like, are you trying to make me like not like your book? Like I was like, I don't understand this author. I don't understand. Like I know that that's like common historical romance, but it's like you don't have
Yeah.
to. Guess what? Like historical romance is already a fantasy. Like the Regency era and like Victorian era of historical romance doesn't exist. You can do whatever. You don't have to like do the huge age gaps. You don't have to have children
Right.
marrying grown
Like,
ass
I'm
men.
sorry, like, even if you want to, like, make a plot point be like, "Oh, there's so much pressure to, like, make her first season go well," like, I don't think there was any rule that, like, you had to be a certain age. Like, you just come up with some reason for why they, like, couldn't do it when they were 18, you know what I mean? Like, be like, "Oh, like, papa was 6, so now I'm 25." Like, I don't know.
I guess then everybody else would have been older though.
What
And
do you
then they would have
mean?
had to explain why like Hyacinth didn't come out the next season.
Oh, I just meant, like, in general. I wasn't saying for this.
Oh
I
yeah.
just meant, like, in general in, like, historical romances.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, not for this. It's just, like, silly. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, because like age Simon down. Because like I also understand why like sometimes because it's like the same problem I had with like Alex Volkov in
Twisted
Twisted Love
love.
being like 23, but like somehow like
26.
yeah, but like talking about his
His
like
game
how
is
long his like
revenge.
struggles. Yeah, exactly. Like I get like not wanting to have the hero be like 23 or whatever, and wanting to have like that plot element and like not have it sound ridiculous to people like me. That being said, I'd rather deal with that ridiculousness than
I
like
mean, what plot
18 and
element
30.
required Simon to be old?
No,
Like
I'm
nothing.
saying there isn't one here. I'm saying if there was one in like a book like that, if there were if that was required, then do the thing where it's like and you have to have the first season thing for some reason. You can still do that by like just making the heroine like have waited a little bit,
Yeah.
you know?
During the wedding scene, there was this like random indie choral music. This season has like a lot of like actual like music, like not just instrumental covers. It has like two, whereas like the second season, like they didn't do that. But during the wedding scene, like there's no lyrics, but I was like, this isn't like this is like some like small indie band singing this like song. I was like I was
Wait,
taken
there
out
was
of.
singing?
No, yeah, during the wedding scene. It's like
Oh.
choral singing, but it's like weird. It's like
Oh, oh,
indie.
oh,
I don't
okay.
know. Like indie music.
Okay. I
It
remember
was
thinking
odd.
it was odd, but I remember thinking it kind of fit because the scene was odd. Like it was supposed to be like this odd surreal feeling. At
Yeah,
least
it
for
was supposed
me,
to be
that's what it's like
awkward.
it kind of fit the like what the fuck have I done? What is going on? I
It's
have to
true,
like
yeah.
move out of yeah.
I also had a sudden thought, and this isn't the first time I've had this thought, and this isn't the first time that I've realized that I'm not correct when I think this, but I was like, wait, is she wearing the necklace from the prince as a tiara, like in her wedding? Because they
Holy
look very
shit.
similar. It's not the same necklace,
Okay.
but I was like, but they're just both
That's
really
bold.
ugly pieces of costume jewelry, and that's why they look the
Oh,
same to
I
me.
think I like it. Okay, well, the problem is that costume jewelry has made it so that like real jewelry looks like costume jewelry to me. I think we talked about this.
Oh, but they didn't. You think that they bought all those diamonds for
Oh,
Bridget? Like
no, no,
Netflix
no, but
has a big budget, but they don't have
I'm
that
sure it
big.
looks the same as it would if it were like a real.
Well, it's tacky either way.
Wait, I want to
Looks
see what
ugly. I don't
the
like it.
Did you just snort? I want to
Yeah.
see what the necklace
I have
looks
a
like. I
cold,
forgot.
so like I'm a little.
You have a cold too?
I'm congested. Yeah.
Oh, I've had a cold. Oh yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. It is
Baba
fucking
suggested I
ugly.
got it from you. Yeah, the
Shit,
tiara
what?
is really fucking ugly.
She
Baba
just
was
said
like,
she
maybe you
got it
got it
from.
from
I
Rachel.
mean, it's possible technically that I like somehow.
Because you were breathing on me. It was only been like a week and a half. I got it. I
Well,
started having symptoms
sure.
like a few days ago.
Me on Sunday is when I started feeling sick. Literally on Thursday, I was going to Nashville and like someone like sneezed like far up on the plane. And I literally had the thought like, wow, like you really don't appreciate how nice it is to not be sick. Like when you're sick, it's all you can think about. And then literally 2 days later, I was sick again.
Anyway, speaking of ugly hair stuff for Daphne, I mean, this isn't ugly. I just like can't, like, she doesn't take her hair down before they fuck for the first time. So, like, they're on this bed and her head is filled with like probably 100 bobby pins.
Oh.
Like, or like, no, I'm sorry, bobby pins weren't invented yet. So, like, those like really
Actual
big
pins.
historical pit, like, and she
Are they
just doesn't, she doesn't
pointy?
even take the, no, but like, that's gotta be uncomfortable, like on the back of your head. She doesn't even take the little
Yeah.
flower out of her hair. Like, that's, she's still totally done up while they're fucking. I'm like, God, like, Daff,
Oh, I
take them
don't
out a
know.
little
I
bit.
feel like
That
it's
could have been part of the
yeah.
sexy undressing scene,
Wait,
taking down your
yeah.
hair.
Wait, I just had what were historical pins like? Like how did they work?
It's like those big one, those like V ones. You know what I'm talking about?
Really?
The like bigger one, the ones that just are like a metal V.
No. I'm trying to think how they work. Like, do they work essentially like when you put like a pencil or like you know how people put like a chopstick through their hair? Like, is that essentially the
I
idea?
guess. Anyway.
Yeah. No, that would. Yeah, and this is where we get the like people love the "I burn for you" scene. Yeah. No, that would hurt.
Actually Anthony's line.
Yeah.
I will say that, quite frankly, it is a crime that they didn't include the line from the book where Simon says, "I'll be your blanket."
I forgot about that.
Where she gets on the bed naked and then she tries to pull up the blanket and he's like, "No, I'll be your blanket."
Yeah.
It's a crime. It's a crime that we didn't get.
Oh, it's already like so all their lines are delivered so like I don't know.
Yeah.
It was better the second time, but also like I don't know, just
it was better sped up. Let me tell you. I know I had this realization
I know.
episode
Yeah.
where I was like, wow, it's so much her lines sound so much better when they're sped
better.
up.
Yeah.
Oh,
like
it was
that
really
ass,
great.
like when they're like originally gonna have 2 separate rooms and then she's like, why aren't we sharing? And when she's going into her own room, like I literally had the thought, I was like, that's a child. Like, isn't the innkeeper like confused why a child is like staying by themselves? Like, I'm sorry, I know she's actually a grown woman, but I just feel like I don't know, just everything about the vibe.
It's just
because her whole thing is like just looking so like shocked all the time. And like,
well, it's the neck acting. She does like the neck acting. That's her thing.
Yeah.
She's yeah. So yeah, this episode doesn't like nothing happens in it. Nothing happens in it that has like a long-term effect other than the fact that Daphne knows nothing about sex and then she has sex.
Yeah.
And she still doesn't really know anything about sex.
Yeah.
We get
speaking of the sorry, I just remember this, but the special license thing, like why didn't they just go to Scotland or something? Like because I forgot
scandalous.
But that yeah, I guess.
It's scandalous. Did you know you can still get married at Gretna Green?
Really? Is it like
which
Vegas?
is like listener for those of you. Yeah, well, listener for those of you that aren't up to date with the historical romance lingo, Gretna Green is like the first town like at the Scottish border. So it was where like everybody went to get married because in Scotland you didn't need to have like wait the 3 weeks for like the banns to be read in church. Like you could just like get married whenever. It was like much more relaxed within the Church of Scotland. So everyone would like run to Gretna Green. And that's still a town. And a lot of times it was like, because it would be like all the like regular Joes of Gretna Green. And then they would also just be like licensed to, they would also like have wedding license videos. So it was called like, not videos, wedding, like just like wedding side
Yeah.
hustles. So
Yeah.
like that's why it was called like a blacksmith's marriage, because like you would go and like one of the famous dudes that like also did a wedding side hustle was just like the village blacksmith
Yeah.
who's like, I also got rings. But you can still get married there. And I didn't realize that until someone that I followed on Instagram who lives in the UK was like, me and my fiance got married last weekend. Like we just spontaneously like eloped to Gretna Green. Like we took the train up. I was like, you can do that. That's amazing.
I finally want a garage, if only so that I could like take up metalworking again and like smelt things.
Wow.
I just realized that I have a use, because I was thinking, I saw some girl on TikTok that was like, yeah, I just wanted to smelt, and here I am. I didn't have enough rings, now I do. And I was like, listen, that could be me, but like not in my apartment. Like I'm not about to like. If
you do that, would you make me like a sword, or at least like a cool dagger?
Maybe that seems that is intermediate. I am a beginner.
Well, okay, you get back into it. Once you're like
Yeah.
developing this hobby, I want a sword.
Sure.
Or like a
Okay,
cool
I'll
dagger at
see.
the very
That seems
least.
like a lot, but I'll see what I can do.
I'm just saying, like, what is, you just flatten it. You just flatten the middle and you sharpen it a little bit, and then you do the same thing you do to jewelry, but you put it on the hilt.
Yeah, I guess my concern, also like sharpening it, I feel like you need like the wheel thing or whatever. Also, my concern is
Okay,
that
well, you
a
don't have to make
sword
me
is
a
a lot
sharp knife.
is a lot bigger than anything I've
Okay, a
ever
knife.
worked on, but maybe a dagger.
A knife. What do you
Okay,
have
fair.
there? A knife. No. Okay. So that's season 1, episode 5 of Bridgerton. Nothing happens except they fuck, and you learn how to avoid a hangover. If any of you have eloped to Gretna Green, let me know. I think that would be interesting to know. Maybe I'd do that. I could see myself. Maybe. Who knows? I would have to visit it. Maybe I'll visit it. I think I'm going to go to Scotland this summer, and maybe I'll go to Gretna Green. Scope it out. See whether it's like actually
nice
like
destination,
still cool, or whether it's like, just been touristified.
I mean, it's a really nice name.
It is. It's great. It's a great name. GG, Gossip Girl, Gretna Green. What other GG things do we have?
Good game. Gilmore Girls.
Gilmore Girls. Rachel, where can they find us?
You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, at all. At We Read It One Night. You can check out our Etsy, Evelyn and Adelaide. Got some great merch. Yeah. And email, we read it one night at gmail.com. Twitter, we read it podcast.
So painful. I'm not gonna cut a single thing out of that. Because normally when we do this, I like cut it out to make it seem like you didn't struggle, but I'm not gonna cut a single thing out of it. Listener, I hope you enjoy it.
Godspeed, comrades.
Godspeed.